What is up, everybody, and welcome to episode 72 of the Hot Stove Podcast. Your host, Zach Nunez, joined as always by Mark, Austin, and Josh. We made it like 2 seconds in before I lost what I was trying to say. That's actually a new record, I think. We got some fun going on today. Got some trivia. We're going to be doing another edition of Mad-Libs, and I swear to God, I don't want to do this every week, partially because that's a lot of content for me to try and make up. But this one, like I said last week, I stole the idea for Mad-Libs from the guys over at Cespedes Family BBQ and their podcast. And as I was listening to their newest episode this morning, the Mad-Lib that they did, the Sabre profile that they looked at today was too good for me to pass up. Is it as good as last week's edition with good old Pussy Tebow? I don't know. But we're in for a treat this week with our edition of Mad-Libs. And then we're going to talk about football. We have an NFL slate that should be pretty good this upcoming weekend. And then also on the collegiate side, it is championship weekend. So we're going to be looking ahead to some matchups we're interested in and our favorite bets on the pigskin this weekend. But first, before we get started, make sure to follow us on Twitter at Hot Stove Pod. That's at Hot Stove Pod on Twitter. Here on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment if you feel like commenting. Hit the notification bell as well. You hit that thing and it lets you know when we're doing stuff. Not only when we post videos, but when we go live, whether it be for other live things that we do, Saturday, right? Beyond Jesus, what the hell is this one called, Mark?
Outside the box score.
Outside the box score. Too many names associated with the nickname
cinematic universe.
Yeah,
There were two, and one of them hasn't been a show for a year.
I know. Shout out Rick Wiener, by the way. The guy. Let's just say that he likes lamb instead of full-grown goat.
All right. Can we? I really don't want that to start up again.
No, it's fine. It's fine. We just don't like the guy. I also like lamb. That's all. I'm not begrudging him for it. For legal purposes, I like the meat lamb. Yeah. Anyways, that's yeah. All right.
The fuck is happening?
Alrighty. This is the worst episode of. We were bound to have a dud. I think we found a dud.
Mark's former professional co-host fucking sucks. Let's move it on. What the fuck?
Yeah. Let's move on.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
Hey, maybe you shouldn't masquerade as an important guy. Anyways, let's move on. We got trivia, right? We got trivia to do this week. Austin, you have a trivia question, right?
Yeah, I do. I can.
All right. If you could give us your trivia question first.
I'll lead off. It's a quick, easy one. College football yet again. This one is a free point, though. It's a giveaway. As we approach the college football playoffs, we have what looks to be what will be our Final Four. Barring any upsets in the championship games. USC sitting at 4, playing a team they've already lost to in Utah. If they lose, they'll probably be out because the playoff, the committee, they love the Blue Bloods, they love the Ohio States. They'll bounce over them, and that would mean Caleb Williams wouldn't make the college football playoff, and none of the Heisman finalists would be looking to make the college football playoff. So my question is, in the playoff era that's since 2015, who is the only Heisman winner to not make the college football playoff?
Zach, I have the answer.
All right.
It's Lamar Jackson.
That's correct. In 2016-17, played for Louisville, almost made the playoff, but I believe they went 9-3 that year. They lost a couple cheesy games towards the end. They had a shot, but every other player's made the playoff. And most years, at least 2 finalists make the playoff. This year, we could see 0 finalists be in the playoff, which really question what does the Heisman mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does the Heisman mean? The Heisman means apparently that 25 years later you get to become a complete wacko and run for Senate in a state you don't even live in. That's what the Heisman means. Shout out Herschel Walker. I hope you rot in hell.
Here. Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It's coming in hot tonight.
Greatest stars ever.
No, I don't care. I don't care.
I'm rooting
for
him.
You know what Herschel Walker really loves? He won't say it on the campaign trail, but you know what he really loves?
Oh boy,
abortions. He loves making them get abortions.
That's actually
true.
Probably
he loves
true.
doing that.
Well, he probably
just trying to protect his
Well, it's on the record. It's on the record as true.
Yeah, I mean, he probably. I mean, this is all speculation. I don't know any facts on this. I'm just saying he probably likes giving them an old-fashioned abortion via abuse. But I mean, that's all speculation. That's all.
What is this speculation?
All right.
You talking about the Syracuse game?
I mean, they're doing
shout out Syracuse.
Yeah, losing by 5. Great.
As per usual. Yeah. All right. I have a trivia question, baseball related, as I usually do. So this one should be fun, right? There are how many players are there on this? 9? 1, 2, 3. 8 players. 8 active players who are currently batting over 300 for their career.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'll give you this. It's a minimum of 100 plate appearances.
Oh.
So, a couple of caveats right off the front. There are 2 players on this list that kind of bend the rules of this stat, hence the reason that there are qualifiers of active and minimum 100 PAs. One of these 8 players doesn't have very many plate appearances. The other one that I'm talking about, it's debatable as to whether or not he's active. He did play in 2022.
Okay.
But to consider him an active player might be a little bit of a stretch. But he's on this list regardless. So 8 players have at it.
Robinson Cano?
Robinson Cano is correct. That's the one that it was a bit of a stretch as to whether or not he was active. He technically played in the majors in 2022.
He did. He played like 4 games for the Braves.
Miguel Cabrera.
Yeah. Miguel Cabrera is correct.
Yep.
Do I have to say it?
Trout?
Damn it. I was like, I gotta be the one.
Mike Trout is correct.
I couldn't remember if because he's at like 300 even, I think. He's really close. I couldn't remember if it was at or
Mike
below.
Trout's career average is 303.
303. So yeah, he's cutting it close.
Gonna pull one out of my butthole. Nolan Arenado.
No.
Incorrect.
Oof.
Probably close.
He's in the 280s, I think. Yeah, I think it's like 287.
289.
Oof.
289.
I'm trying to think of who the young buck is. Who's the one with 0 plate appearances?
Well, I wouldn't say he's young.
Freddie Freeman.
Not Freddie
machine.
What?
He's not active anymore. He retired.
No.
Josh.
And also,
he also dipped down to 299.
297 or something. Yeah.
Yeah. 296.
Oh wow, it dipped even more.
Yeah, I didn't say he was young. I will say this player that the reason that there's this minimum that he has 222 career at bats, and is batting 324.
Ooh.
He's not young?
No. I mean, he's not particularly.
I'm gonna keep playing away from this. I'm
but
gonna let
he's
Mark
not
keep teetering on this guy, and I'm just gonna keep trying to pepper the ones that I could steal points from. I'm gonna go Mookie Betts and Jose Altuve.
Altuve's one of them. Betts isn't.
Yeah, Mark is right. If you knew that off the top of your head, why didn't you say Jose?
Yeah, see, because I'm telling you, you gotta start peppering out the easy ones. He's thinking too hard right now for the one he wants.
I forgot what we're doing here.
You guys are missing 4 players. You've gone through half of it.
4 players, just to remind the people at home, of course. 4 players at what again?
300 batting average in their career, Josh.
A career batting average over 300.
Oh.
Just to remind those listening at home.
Yeah, the people, and so far already said, of course, we're Altuve,
Trout, Cano,
Robinson, Cano, Miguel Cabrera, and Mike Trout. Yeah.
Wow. Cano. Wow.
Just for the people at home.
Right.
It's like Frank Schwindel. Like, I'm trying to think of someone who.
No, it's not. It's not Frankie Two Hits.
Is it possibly a Canadian?
No.
Joey Votto's.
Oh my God, the guy with the name. If I say his last name and I say what team he plays for, are you gonna give it to me?
Yes, I will.
Gurriel for Houston.
Oh no, it's not Yuli Gurriel.
Oh, he's not young, but he's also not been in the league that long.
Luis Arias.
Luis Arias is one of them.
Oh my God, you sick freak.
Joey Votto's career batting average, thanks to this year, dipped to 297. By the way,
God just likes hitting home runs too much.
He didn't do very much of that.
Did you see the picture of him at the tennis tournament? Or not tennis, chess.
Chess? Yeah. he got smoked by some 9-year-old, didn't he?
Insane beard.
Yeah, the insane beard. And the Red said, "Good luck, King." He said, "I got flattened by a 9-year-old," but
yeah. Yeah, 3 left.
224 career at bat.
2 more middle infielders, and then a fella who has not played much time in the majors.
Middle infield.
Is this one that I'm racking my brain about? Someone I'm going to get?
Yeah. Yeah. I'll say this about the guy who stretches the limit here. He has a fairly accomplished career in international baseball, and only was called up to the majors this year for the very first time in his career. Got 222 at bats, batted .324.
What?
In 2022.
And wasn't getting like rookie of the year votes?
Primarily an outfielder. No, not that I know of.
Well, because he could have played here. Was this his first time in the majors, you said?
Yes, this was his first time in the majors. He was technically a rookie. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, no, he did not get any votes.
Didn't get any votes. He had 324 and didn't get a single.
Not a single one. He only played 56 games. So.
Yeah, Stephen Kwan, the outfielder for Cleveland.
No, he played the whole season.
That was
also, he's very American.
I've watched so many Guardians games. Stephen Kwan's American?
No, I mean,
yeah, Stephen Kwan isn't like from Japan. I think he's from like California.
I believe you're right, Mark.
Well, it doesn't matter because it wasn't an answer.
Stephen Kwan is from California.
Yeah.
This player is Mexican. And like I said, he has a fairly accomplished international career before making his major league debut this season. Mind you, you're still missing 2 other players who are probably pretty easy to guess.
They can get them.
The guy who won the World Series MVP, Jeremy Pena.
No.
It's not Jeremy Pena.
But what about that boy? That there boy Bo Bichette.
No, these other 2 guys have been in the majors for a good a good few years. I'll have to check. I think they've both been in majors for at least 5 years.
Is this guy a former Rochester Red Wing?
I'm not commenting. I can't.
It's Joey Meneses, isn't it?
Oh my God! Don't let it be.
It is Joey Meneses. Yeah, Joey Meneses.
I forgot how good he was with the Nationals this year.
Red Wings legend. And by his, when I was talking about his international record, he won the MVP in the MVP or the MPB in 2018.
I didn't know he played over in Japan.
Yeah. Joey Meneses.
Oh,
yeah, dude. Yeah. I bet Joey Meneses played in Japan, but Stephen Kwan didn't.
Hey, he'll be eligible.
That's got to be racist.
Yeah, just guess the guy because he's got a 4 in the last name.
It's got to be racist.
Yeah, dude. It's racist to say that a Japanese last name played in Japan, but Meneses didn't. I bet.
The best player in Japan is like Willie Mo Pena. The guy hits
the best player in Japan is about to be Aristides Aquino. All right.
God.
This is true. He's gonna hit nukes in Japan.
Did he go to Japan?
Was it Japan or Korea?
Jesus Christ.
I thought it was Japan.
Well, he certainly can't hit anything but a fastball over here, so who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe he'll get better.
There are still 2 other players.
Yeah, I can. So what's the list? Cabrera, Arias.
They're middle infielders,
Altuve, Tim Anderson. No, really.
So
what are we saying here?
A gun.
Trey Turner.
That one was easy. How the fuck am I missing Trey Turner?
What are we talking about here? What about that? What about that guy who? No, if I say the hints, I mean Mark's just gonna get it.
Yes.
Well, okay, I'll say the hints anyway.
Message me. I'll get it.
No, go ahead. If I can tell you that you're on the right track, I'll let you take it.
He's a Met and he sucks, but he always has a good batting average.
Oh yeah, that's probably it.
That is precisely the player you're thinking of. Yeah.
Do you know the name, Austin?
I don't know the name.
Jeff McNeil.
Yes.
Oh,
Josh, that is correct.
Yes.
Squirrel.
That's teamwork.
I'm glad somebody got it though.
That's teamwork right there, kid.
He only won the batting title this year. Yeah.
No, he didn't.
The Mets player who always sucks but somehow bats 300.
Yeah. So that's the list: Miguel Cabrera, Robinson Cano, Jose Altuve, Mike Trout, Trey Turner, Jeff McNeil, Luis Arias, and Joey Meneses.
What a stacked crew.
That's the list of active players with a batting average over 300.
I was about you give me a rise, Nunez.
What? Yeah.
You give me a rise.
This episode's never going to see the light of day.
No, this is great. We've moved on from the first couple of minutes, and this is fantastic. Mark, what is a hot stove episode without boner jokes? You know? Let's be honest.
All I'm going to say is this better be a damn good Mad-Lib, and maybe I'll just upload that clip of the show.
You lift me up, no Josh Groban. All right. Anyways, a bit of an update on FanDuel as well before we move on to our actual content of the show here. Pretty good week this last week in FanDuel.
You rat bastard.
From the all of us. Austin finished in last with 110 points. Josh finished in third with 122.7. Mark finished in second for like the 9th straight week with 123.5. And then I swooped in with 126.6 off the back of Josh Jacobs having the second best fantasy performance of any player in 2022.
Who's
Go me.
Better?
I finally got
Joe Mixon.
Joe Mixon when he scored 5 touchdowns a few weeks ago. Yeah. So to update on the standings now, Mark is beginning to pull away just a little bit because he keeps getting those 3 points from being in second place. So Mark is in first with 35 points. Austin is in second with 32 points. Josh is in third with 28. And myself, I'm bringing up the rear with 25. So, yeah, that's that on the FanDuel standings. So, we're going to do it again this week. The same thing we did last week, where we're going to look at the life and times of an old baseball player. Now, like I said, I wasn't quite planning on doing this again this week, but man, this one that I read, it was too good. Couldn't let it slide. So
I'm excited.
As is the same with what happened last week, I'm going to read some excerpts from the Saber page of a particular old-timey baseball player, and at intermittent points throughout the story, I will be stopping and asking you guys to fill in the blanks of what comes next, a la Mad-Libs, a la Dead Ball Mad-Libs from Baseball Barbercast. Because again, I can't stress this enough. This was their idea, and I stole it from them. I'm like that one comedian. What the hell is his name?
Carlos Mencia.
Oh, yes, Carlos Mencia. Also Dane Cook, but that's beside the point. Yeah, Carlos Mencia. That's the one. I'm like him, but with podcast segments.
I like it.
I'm stealing those. All right. So last week we looked at the life and times of one Pussy Thibault, and the fun story behind his life.
A true legend.
This week we are going to be. What'd you say, Mark?
I said a true legend, Pussy Thibault.
You're right. This week we are going to be taking a look at the life and times of one Bullet Joe Bush. Now, are either of you guys or any of you guys familiar with Bullet Joe?
Yeah, he played in the 40s to the 50s for the White Sox. He hit .212 with 38 home runs and 103 RBIs.
Then none of that is true. None of that is true.
It would have been hilarious if,
yeah,
he just pulled a me for a second. Yeah, I can't say I'm familiar with
just
the bullet.
Stored in the deep recesses of his mind.
Yeah.
All right. That sounds good. I'm going to read you guys the story of Bullet Joe Bush. Now, Bullet Joe Bush, one of the more famous players of the 1910s, started his professional career at a very young age. He started playing professional baseball at the age of 17. And at the age of 20, in 1913, he had his biggest career accomplishment, taking down the then juggernaut, what was it? The New York Giants in 1913 in the World Series, a game in which he was a pitcher. Joe Bush, by the way, he was a pitcher, and he took down the Giants. And the following morning, the Boston Globe read, "Giants slain by mere boy." That was the headline on October 10th, 1913, in the Boston Globe, after Bullet Joe Bush defeated Jeff Tesreau, who was a pitcher for the Giants, a 22-game winner in 1913. And it paved the way for the Philadelphia Athletics, the team that the Bushman played for at the time, to win the World Series that year. Now, let's start way back in the beginning. Leslie Ambrose Bush, name not Joe. Not Joe, first of all. Leslie Ambrose Bush was born November 27th, 1892, the third of 7 children of John William Bush and Margaretha Bush, his mother's name, in Gull River, Minnesota. John William, his father, originally from Ohio, was what, Austin? What did he do for a living?
He was a coal miner.
He was a conductor for the Northern Pacific Railroad. That's what John William did. Now, his mother, Margaretha, otherwise known as Maggie, in his life, was from where, Mark?
Margaretha, I believe, if I remember correctly, was also actually born in a coal mine in rural Oklahoma.
Oh, wow.
Margaretha was born in Zieckenstow, Poland.
Yeah.
United States. Moved to the United States. Now, he was born in Gull River, Minnesota, but eventually moved to Brainerd, Minnesota as a child, and that's where he started playing baseball. Dr. Carl Zappi who is a Midwestern historian of some sorts, described Brainerd as a baseball-conscious town, saying that the town erected a ballpark in the very center of the village before they'd even had streets in the town. He tells the story as told him by former Joe Bush Brainerd teammate Louis Imgrund, how Joe would practice his pitching in where, Josh?
You would practice it, of course, down in the mines.
He would practice it at an old orchard.
Just
in town, an old orchard, and he would practice his pitching by throwing what, Austin?
I'm gonna go on a limb here. It seems pretty easy. He was throwing coal in the mine. No. He's, wait, no. I get points for that. He's throwing apples. He was throwing apples.
You don't get points for it.
No points,
Austin.
But
he practices pitching.
Stupid.
He practices pitching by throwing, quote, exceedingly fast rotten apples in the orchard. Threw them at the crescent-shaped hole of a neighboring outhouse. You know, that reminds me of like Shrek.
Right? Yeah.
But yeah. The thing is that like the hole in the outhouse in Shrek was up high. So it makes me think of like, that's probably how he became good as a pitcher. He was cultivating that high fastball.
Mm-hmm. Learned to
elevate.
He
knew he had to work this up. Right. Exactly. A direct hit by one of his exceedingly fast rotten apples meant considerable spray spattered throughout its interior, particularly annoying to anyone seated inside of the outhouse.
Oh!
According to his teammate Ingrund, Joe, quote, rarely missed. So he was constantly peppering those people as they were trying to take a piss on the local outhouse.
Was stud.
Bullet Joe had a very good curveball and would later develop a forkball when arm trouble made throwing his curve more difficult. Although he wasn't the first to throw the forkball, Bush was credited as one of the earliest major leaguers to start using the pitch, throwing it with consistency and effectiveness. Some say he invented it, including Joe himself. Bullet Joe, a humble man, claims to have invented the forkball. Others usually are credited with that, but he takes that claim for himself. He invented it as far as he's concerned. Bush had a few idiosyncrasies when playing baseball as well. In his pitching delivery, he threw every pitch with such intensity that he won. Mark.
He threw every pitch with such intensity there was considerable spray inside of his pants.
He threw with such intensity that he emitted a grunt that could be heard from the bleachers.
Oh,
he yelled a lot when he pitched. Apparently,
this is Madison Bumgarner.
He had a pirouette style delivery that was eventually called the Joe Bush twist around. That pitching style, Babe Ruth thought was pretty effective, and Ruth even encouraged his other Yankees teammates to mimic Joe Bush's pitching style on those early Yankees teams. Now, I know what you're thinking. His name isn't Joe, it's Leslie, and that's correct. So let's take a moment here and try to explain where the nickname Joe came from. The nickname Bullet Joe, took hold when he was playing professional baseball in Missoula. The club president, Huey Campbell, called him Joe Bush after a formal local, what, Josh?
A formal local?
Former local.
A former local at the whorehouse. He was rampantly involved in prostitution.
Mind you, Missoula is in Montana, if anybody was wondering.
A lot of good whores up.
These are the exact words from the article. Huey Campbell began to call him Joe Bush after a former local Bronco buster, a cowboy of sorts, an old Montana legend named Joe Bush. And for some reason, Leslie Bush was called Joe Bush after a cowboy.
Oh yeah, that guy's in Yellowstone.
Why?
It's Kevin Costner.
Why? Yeah, he was named after Kevin Costner. Yep. Correct. Now, later, the local media in Missoula, Montana, began calling him Joe Bullet because of the speed of his fastball. Bush credits the nickname Bullet Joe to his teammate Eddie Collins, who applied the label after seeing a letter in the clubhouse was addressed to Joe Bullet. The nickname stuck for the rest of his career. In 1912, Joe Bullet was signed by the Philadelphia Athletics. In 1913, became one of the youngest players to ever play in the World Series, the aforementioned World Series, where he, at 20 years old, took down the mighty New York Giants en route to a Philadelphia Athletics World Series championship that year. Now, in 1914, you thought the A's fire sale was bad now. In 1914, Connie Mack decided, fuck it, I'm just going to dismantle the whole team, and decided to have a complete fire sale, selling a bunch of players to the Federal League, including future Hall of Famers Eddie Plank, Chief Bender, Eddie Collins, and Home Run Baker. Shout out Home Run Baker. All four of those future Hall of Famers were sold from the team in 1914, not 1 year after winning the World Series. Now, Bullet Joe would stick around for another 2 okay years. His career would become mired by World Series failure after World Series failure. The large story of the remaining years of Bullet Joe's career was how he was not able to pitch well in the postseason, with a sub 500 record in the postseason after that 1913 World Series. So he left the A's in 1917 and played for another 6 teams over the final 10 years of his career. He eventually had to reshape the way that he pitched because of these aforementioned arm problems. Like I said earlier, allegedly inventing the forkball because he wasn't able to throw his curve the way he wanted to. In 1929, he signed with the Portland Beavers of the Pacific Coast League, but then the stock market crashed and the United States went into something called the Great Depression, which kicked him out of professional baseball yet again. He signed with a couple of teams after the Great Depression, but ended up retiring in 1932. His playing career was effectively over by then. Now we can take a look at his career stats here for Bullet Joe. Over 17 years in the majors, Bullet Joe Bush had a 3.51 ERA, a record of 196 and 184. Let's see here. He pitched just over 3,000 innings over the course of his career. Let's get some more numbers here. I wish I was looking at this more intently before we started.
Abundantly mediocre.
Yeah, had 1,300 strikeouts over the course of his 3,000 career innings. Led the league in walks 1 year. Also led the league in losses in 1916 as a member of the Athletics. The team, you can tell here, by the way, the ramifications of Connie Mack selling off the entire team, because in 1916, he actually had arguably the best season of his career with a 2.57 ERA over 290 innings, but he lost 24 games that season. He went 15 and 24 in 1916, despite arguably having the best season of his career. He was also not bad at the plate, old Bullet Joe. In a career, how many at-bats did he have over the course? In a career, 1,300 plate appearances. It was said in the article that he was often brought in as a pinch runner because of his prowess at the plate. He batted a career, over a career 1,300 plate appearances. He batted a career 253 with 7 home runs. Or no, I'm sorry. Yeah, 17 home runs. My apologies. 17 home runs.
That's as many as Home Run Baker.
Yeah. I read that wrong again. Sorry, I read that wrong. 7 home runs. I was reading his triples. 17 triples. 7 home runs and 4 stolen bases over the course of his career. He had an OPS plus of 72. Did Bullet Joe Bush. Not bad for a pitcher at all. All right. Back to Bullet Joe. Outside of his baseball prowess, and he was a pretty good baseball player, he had some other non-baseball talents. Some would say he was a man of creative expression as well. As with the time, many baseball players on occasion, including Joe Bush, would participate in what, Austin?
I like Josh's answer. Going to the whorehouse.
Oh yeah.
Well, they probably did that. They probably did that a lot. When I was listening to the baseball barbercast this morning, I believe it was I don't remember who was talking, but whoever answered this said that his answer was alcoholism contests. Which is also an applicable answer. But no, as with other players, Joe Bush would participated in vaudeville shows with other baseball players, and he was said to have had a quote excellent baritone voice. So he was a real Renaissance man out there. Outside of his baseball playing and his artistic ability, Joe was also what, Mark?
I had one in my head in case this happened, and I completely blanked on it. Oh, yeah. Joe was also the founder of Bazooka Bubblegum Company, prompting his nickname to be changed to Bazooka Joe, which is a considerable upgrade over a bullet.
Huh. That would have been an interesting story, but no, Mark, unfortunately, Bullet Joe was a ventriloquist as well.
Vaudevillian ventriloquist, eh?
Yes, he was a ventriloquist. Now, there is one more interesting story that I thought really needed to be included from his Saber page. One time, he was playing with the Red Sox at one point later in his career. One time, they were traveling north from spring training, where Joe got himself into a little bit of trouble in Morristown, Tennessee. Now, apparently, while they were in a restaurant in Morristown, Tennessee, he started out of nowhere, started to do what, Josh?
Well, you see, he ran his own moonshining business, and then the Duke boys were in there, and so when he saw him, he started throwing his bottles of shine at the Duke boys and started a brawl.
I like to just say that Josh put in the chat erected.
Yeah. That was a while ago, yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm just now noticing it. No, while in a restaurant down there in Morristown, Tennessee, out of nowhere, he began to start making animal noises. He mimicked animal sounds that could be heard coming from different parts of the room, which really alarmed the restaurant staff. So you know what they did? They called the police. So this guy's making animal noise. This guy's making animal noises. Let's call the cops. They called the local constable on him, who promptly arrested Joe Bullet for making animal noises in a restaurant.
Seems a little aggressive.
Well, see, here's the thing. This is kind of an old fable more than anything. None of this is on pertinent record. But as the story goes, while being arrested, whether it be he was just being held somewhere or something, Joe started to mimic the sound of a vicious barking dog, projecting his voice behind the constable. That scared the constable, and he turned around to protect himself from the dog, and Joe fled the scene. He ran away.
Oh, I thought you were going to say he shot Bullet Joe.
Stupid pig.
No. The constable turned around to protect himself from the dog that Joe was making noises to impersonate, and Joe ran away. He broke free.
He's a fugitive.
Ran away from the cops. Yeah, so that's an interesting, an aside a little bit. But, reflecting on the character of Bullet Joe, a sports journalist once characterized him as the proverbial boy that never grew up. During an interview in 1967, just 7 years before he passed away, with Bill Duncan of the Courier-Post, Bush described his biggest kick, his best memory in baseball being what, Austin?
His best memory, I'm going to say probably hitting people in the head who pissed him off.
It's not. I mean, you're not. You're kind of in the same. You're in the same area in the sense that he threw baseballs. His favorite memory from his time in playing baseball was when he successfully picked off Ty Cobb at second base with the bases loaded. He said, and I quote, "Man, he was furious. He pawed and kicked and howled at the umpire. It's a picture I'll never forget," said Bullet Joe. Leslie Ambrose Bullet Joe Bush died in Fort Lauderdale, Florida on November 1st, 1974, at the ripe age of 81, having lived a full life of ventriloquism, vaudeville shows, pitching in the World Series well once, and then terribly for the rest of his career. And that does it.
Leslie?
His name was Leslie. That does it for the story of Bullet Joe Bush.
Thank you, Bullet Joe.
Or should I say Baseball Mad-Libs. Thank you, Joe Bush.
Because he's a woman.
Is it bad that when the prompt was his favorite memory from his playing career, I wanted to say he was the first person to call Josh Gibson the N-word?
Jesus Christ.
Jesus. That would have been insane. That would have been absolutely nuts if that's what it was.
Whenever we talk about these old-timey baseball players, all I can think about is how horribly racist all of them definitely were.
Mark making sure that this episode never sees.
No, this is a great episode. I really saved it there. Yeah, thank you for participating. This segment will surely come back at some point. Because it's the best thing we've got going. It's not even my idea. That's the fun part about it. Mm-hmm. Albeit we will play another instance or another iteration of do they play wide receiver for the New York Giants at some point?
Oh yeah,
because that was also
love that game.
Yeah. Anywho, it's time to spin it forward and take a look at the upcoming weekend in the old pigskin. We'll start on Saturday, because it comes first in the calendar. Right? We'll start on Saturday and look ahead at championship weekend here in the NCAA. Now, admittedly, I'm not much of an expert in college football. I poo-poo it quite often because it's a sham, in my opinion. But these games are allegedly good, from what I've been told. And there are probably good betting lines to come with it. So, Josh, Mark, Austin, if you guys have any bets that you're looking at early here in the college football slate, any matchups in particular that you're looking to take advantage of, be my guest. The floor is yours.
Josh?
Oh yeah,
that's the betting guy.
First. Yeah. I'm gonna be honest with you. College football, I couldn't be less excited about it this weekend. I guess the only thing I'm looking forward to is one of the four teams in the playoff losing, right? That'd be fun and chaotic. Who knows? Maybe LSU comes in and pounds Georgia. Who knows? That'd be fun, huh? Purdue knocking off Michigan. That sadly won't happen. And they probably won't even cover because Purdue fucking sucks. Yeah, the line's
16 and a half is not nearly a big enough line for the number 2 team in the country that just beat Ohio State against a team that lost to Syracuse.
Yeah, I mean Purdue's.
Yeah, but they lost to early season Syracuse. Early season Syracuse was the top 4 team in the nation.
This is true.
That's true.
Another one that I'm looking at. I mean, TCU has been tested now. This will be their 3rd straight week of let's see if TCU's frauds or not. They've played Kansas State earlier in the year, obviously with their undefeated record. They beat them. I'm looking forward to this game. TCU's getting all the bets. Honestly, this week's boring. There's no sharp. The best sharp play that I see so far early on in the week is Georgia. Georgia's catching less than 40% of the bets and almost 70% of the money on the minus 17.5 against LSU. Which, if you want to lay 3 possessions against possibly a top 10 team, great, go for it. Couldn't be me. I'm staying away, probably just try and enjoy them. And I don't know. Honestly, I'll probably be on the Horned Frogs. They like me. I'm gonna like them in Michigan. But yeah, Friday is the USC game against Utah. Like Austin said earlier, they lost to the Aggies earlier in the year. Or are they the Utes? Is the Aggies
Utes.
Utah State?
The Utes.
Okay, yeah.
The Utes. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it got to be a bounce back, right? They should at least win. No, they know they want to stay in the college football playoff. And honestly, at this point, they could lose or they could win and still get relegated by Alabama. Because if there's anything that college football proves to me every week is that it doesn't matter who you are unless you're Alabama.
Or Ohio State.
Yeah, Ohio State's, what did they move down to?
5.
6?
They're
5?
5.
Yeah, they got pounded. But yeah, honestly, unless you're in the Big Ten, yeah, the love for conference in that sport is crazy. Because I think the Big Ten, hot take, I guess, the Big Ten is hot trash. I think LSU could beat Michigan. I think fucking who's like a bad SEC team. I think Mississippi State would take Michigan into the fourth quarter and be a tight game. I think the Big Ten teams fucking suck, but who knows? That's just me, and I like bad football, so that's my look at the slate.
Well, Josh, you like bad football. I've got a treat for you. Friday afternoon, a little bit of a midday gunslinger action, some action, if you will. We've got a random Friday afternoon game here between the Akron Zips, the 2-9 Akron Zips, and the 5-6 Buffalo Bulls. Now, if that doesn't get you going, I don't know what will. UB is 11.5-point favorites in this contest. Do I know why? No. Will I be watching? Also no.
Akron's 2-9. That's why.
Yeah.
Give me the under.
UB's any good.
Give me the under. I'll take that.
I disagree.
But anyways, if you want bad football, go ahead to that game. Khalil Mack's not walking through that door. All right. Who was the quarterback?
I don't know. Something.
Tyree Jackson's not walking through that door.
Yeah.
Right.
We don't have any thoughts on the green wave of Tulane taking on UCF to win the American Athletic
Honestly,
Conference.
Tulane. Hey, that's a real changing of the guard moment. UCF and all of their let us into the playoffs. Well, that was fun for a few years there, but now it's time for the green wave to take people.
I'm all over Tulane in this game.
Give me the wave -3.5.
UCF beat Tulane just 3 weeks ago by 7 points. Since then, UCF, awful. I don't know what happened to them.
They've been
terrible.
Navy.
They lost to Navy, and last week they were in a hot contested match where they needed a game-winning touchdown against 1-11 South Florida.
Yep.
They have not been good since. Tulane has been good since beating Cincinnati, who's third in that conference, and then beating SMU, who's like fourth in that conference by 35. So Tulane's back, and they're ready to steamroll this game.
Mark, could you do a quick pull-up for me and get me the uniform contest here for the Army-Navy game?
Yeah. I sure can.
Army unveiled their uniforms a couple days ago. Navy unveiled their space-themed uniforms this past week. So we're gonna get those both pulled up, and this is what we really live for here is the jersey matchup between Army and Navy. Truly, the game is probably gonna suck, but
all right, here we go.
The Armed Forces Bowl, man. Hashtag.
Yeah, much respect.
So these are Army's uniforms here. They're themed after their tank division.
Old Ironsides, it says on it, which is sick.
Ooh.
Yeah, those are awesome. Do you get the gradient going down the pants? Are those on there? I believe there is some sort of a gradient from the jersey to the pants or something like that.
Yeah, it's sort of, you can sort of see it in the.
Today we continue.
This video's 2 minutes long.
Shout out to the 1st Armored Division, and shout out to the Army Black Knights for putting out these costumes that are fantastic. They're great.
Yeah, you can sort of see the gradient there.
Yeah. All right. Well, then we'll scroll down here and get the costumes for the midshipmen, Mark.
Oh,
I think the jerseys are just okay, but like the NASA theme and the helmets, The helmets are absurd. Can we get a better shot of those helmets? That is the NASA logo on one side, and on the other side, it's an astronaut.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, look at that.
That's
how you do like OD helmets, like really cool.
It's so cool.
Know? Austin, Josh, what are you guys' thoughts on these costumes here?
I think I like them a little bit more, actually. I'm leaning Navy. I'm leaning Navy jerseys.
Yeah, navies are patriotic.
I think I like the Army like jersey pants combo better. Mark's gone. I like the Army jersey pants combo better. Mark's back.
That didn't end the recording?
Nope.
No.
Oh shit. I wanted to go back to ESPN.com and I was on the wrong tab.
I think he's important.
Oh, yeah. So I think I like the Army like jersey pants combo better, but I think I like the Navy helmets better. The Navy helmets go silly.
I agree.
Yeah. So that's our breakdown. When is that game?
It's
not this weekend, is it?
No, it's usually
Isn't it the week after championship weekend? So it's like the week before bowls start.
Maybe next weekend. It's next weekend, December 10th.
Yeah.
So that it's its own like little thing, and everyone has to watch it, and we all have to watch a 10-3 game and go, "Wow, I'm enjoying this because it's Army Navy."
Yeah, it is definitely going to be a 10-3 game. Like that's
over-unders at 33.5.
Yep. Ooh. Under. Give me the under.
This under. Navy team, we were just talking about it. They just beat, some good team a couple weeks ago.
UCF, wasn't it?
UCF, yeah. They just beat UCF, so they're back.
Yeah, they're back. All right, let's move on to professional football this week. Mark, if you could pull up the slate for me.
Yes, sir.
Much appreciated. We'll take a look at the slate here. I personally think there's some pretty interesting contests. If there are any games that jump out to you guys in particular, so be it. But you know what I'm going to be on? I'm going to be on the tank bowl here. Bears Packers, 1 p.m. on the Sunday, right? As a Bears fan, I'll talk about my fandom for just like 2 seconds here. I see this game as a win-win in all scenario, right? One side, Aaron Rodgers does what he normally does, and they destroy Chicago. They hang 40 on him, even though their offense can't muster 20 points, yada, 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 right? And then what? Okay, Aaron Rodgers beats up on a really bad Bears team. They continue to lose. Their draft stock continues to improve, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shucks.
Is
right?
Rodgers even going to play?
But if
Rodgers did
he
say
says
he was
that he's going
to
play.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should probably shut it down. The season's over, but that's
also
here we go.
It's pansy.
It's another broken leg game. You ready for the commentary on that game?
Oh God! Thank God it's not on Sunday Night Football.
I mean, it's incredible. He plays the Cowboys, and he's got a broken thumb, and it doesn't matter, and he plays through everything. He's a fucking champion. And he plays the Eagles, and he gets a little boo-boo on his rib, and he can't play. What a fucking pansy. I hate Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, join the club. Anyways, if Chicago wins on the other side, especially considering Justin Fields is probably not playing in this week, that just means that these two teams are now 4-9 together, and this Packers team just lost to Trevor Siemian.
Or Nathan Peterman.
Or Nathan Peterman. Obviously, that's the preferred outcome for me, because I would find that shit hilarious in every way, shape, and form. But like I said, it's a win-win in either scenario.
It should be against the rules to announce a starting quarterback and then game time just say, never mind. I wanted to see Nathan Peterman.
I mean, they also could have just had Nathan Peterman run the first play and then subbed him out, like Madden style,
Yeah, but
when you're playing a game of Madden, you're like, oh shit, I didn't mean to have him in the game. Time to sub him out real quick. He plays one down.
I wanted to see Nathan Peterman versus Mike White so bad.
Yeah, and you got Mike White against Mike White against Trevor Siemian, which wasn't a good game either.
Yeah, but Nathan Peterman's funny bad. Trevor Siemian's just bad.
Mike White just keeps proving he's a stud in this league.
He's had 2 good games.
Mike White has played 2 good games as a professional. He's wiping out the other like 3 awful games that he played last year is like prime rose-colored glasses.
I'm just saying, Cowboys quarterback drafting is just incredible. It's too good.
Did the Cowboys draft Mike White?
He's a 5th rounder out of Western Kentucky.
But yeah, the Western Kentucky, the Big Red.
Oh yeah,
pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah, love Big Red. But otherwise, let's look at a couple of matchups here this week. That should be pretty good, right? I mean, in my eyes, the one that we really have circled here is Dolphins-Niners. For a 4 p.m. kick out in San Francisco this week. 2 of the hottest teams in the NFL, one of which are having arguably the best at the moment defense in football in the Niners. And then the other team arguably having the best, at the very least, one of, if not the most explosive offenses in football in the Miami Dolphins. This game, to me, has sex written all over it. And I'm gonna keep it a buck hunt it with you. Is it just me, or does 4 seem like? And I know it's because they got the boost because they're at home, but like 4 seems a little wide, doesn't it?
I thought so.
Right. I feel like the game should be a pick'em.
I mean, and Mike McDaniel's
and again,
the candlestick. I know it's not candlestick.
Yeah, it effectively is a pick'em. Again, just because of the line shifting, because of who's at home and whatnot. So in that sense, like neutral site, it would be a pick'em, for example.
Sure.
But like, yeah, I feel 4 feels a little too wide for me. Not that I'm saying that the Niners can't win the game by like 5 or whatever. Yeah. Of course, that's within the realm of possibility. They're a really good football team. But like 4, that's like one of the ones that's jumped out to me as a line that I'm like, interesting. Not that I'll be taking it. I won't be taking it as part of the hot stove parlay that I can't even put in anymore because some joker hacked my DraftKings account and stole my money out of it. And DraftKings, by the way, an update on that situation. DraftKings has just given me the double finger and has just not responded to any of my emails. So,
excellent.
Wow. I'm out $500 thanks to them. Shout out to them.
Come on over to FanDuel.
Yeah. I want to, but I feel like, and this is just me being stupid, is that like I like the amount of stupid shit that I can bet on in DraftKings. Like I feel like the list of like sports I can bet on is not as high on FanDuel.
It isn't. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially because like, what were you saying, Josh? Sorry.
No, I was gonna say something dumb that you wouldn't have appreciated. So go on with your real thought.
No. What was that?
Oh, okay. Well, it was about the Niners game, and I was gonna say that my money will be personally on the only good team playing in that game, and that's gonna be the Dolphins. I think the Niners are catching some insane heat right now. Just everyone loves the Niners. I don't get it. I can't for the love of me get it. I don't know. Out of any NFC team that's in the playoffs right now, I'd pick 3 teams not in the playoffs if I had a 2-minute drive and I needed to score points. This team, sure, the defense is legit, blah, blah, blah. I don't trust the Niners offense more than I can throw Christian McCaffrey. This thing stinks.
I don't think
tear it down.
You could even pick up Christian McCaffrey. So that's not very much at all.
I could pick. Are you fucking kidding me? I could pick up Christian McCaffrey.
Josh, you're hopping on the bandwagon I've been on for the last 3 years, which is the Niners aren't actually good. And
yeah, and that's just been silly. We had this conversation at the beginning of the season. Is like you can just like say things that have no empirical founding, but like until you're right, you're just gonna sound like a silly person.
Oh yeah, I sound like an idiot, but I
think to the point where like you were flashback a while, right? where you said like, Debo Samuel has to prove it as a receiver still, even though he had 1,400 yards last season.
He sucks.
Like flashback to that.
I said he had to prove it as just a wide receiver, which is how they were initially planning on using him this year, which they didn't end up doing due to their running back injuries, and then they got Christian McCaffrey.
And what's he done this year? Nothing. Stinks.
Yeah.
You know they haven't given up a second half point in the last 4 games.
4 games, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said the defense is good. Blah 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 blah.
I mean, hear me out. That team's if they're just not going to lose a single game if they don't give up a second half point.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter how bad the offense is; they're not going to lose that game.
And it's not, and the offense isn't bad. Like unequivocally, not bad. Unequivocally, quite good, actually. Some would say, allegedly.
I'm also just tired of Kyle Shanahan getting all of this praise as an offensive genius when year in and year out the offense is mediocre and the defense is what carries them.
I agree with that.
Mediocre.
Are
You
we
care to run the
fools?
numbers on that, Mark? You care to run
we
the numbers
fools,
on
Mark?
mediocre?
They scored 13 points on the same.
They are fools.
Or are you just gonna be saying words?
They are fools. Don't worry about them.
They're gonna take one game, and that's the sample for the last few years. They scored 13 points in the Saints last week.
I
That's
mean, the
true.
Dolphins hit
No,
their team
it's just-
total under against the Texans.
The offense is never exciting, I feel. I feel like every week it's just Jimmy Garoppolo has 228 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. A guy rushes for 80 yards and a touchdown, and it's just like none of the. This isn't Sean McVay prime Rams running an offense. This isn't like this isn't Andy Reid with McNabb. This is just like,
some would say one of these teams beats the other one actually. So arguably, allegedly, again.
Because the defense.
When they play each other.
They made it to the Super Bowl
also,
on defense and scored
Jimmy
13
Garoppolo
points
every
against
week
a
has
bad
200
Chiefs
yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Jimmy Garoppolo has thrown 4 interceptions this season.
I don't know.
So,
Mark, I hate to tell you,
I'm off
this.
This is weird. This is weird nonsense going on. I'm not gonna lie to you guys.
This could just be me trying to psych up myself for a playoff run, but I'm really not worried about any of those teams. I mean, give me the Niners, give me Seattle, they fucking suck. Give me Tampa. I put the Niners in the same bed as the Seattle or fucking Tampa Bay.
if I'm the Dallas Cowboys, I'm scared of any team that threatens to run the ball 30 plus times a game.
Yeah,
I agree.
I'm not afraid of the run at all.
you should be.
Should I be?
Yes.
I'm afraid of a running quarterback. That's about it. I'm not afraid of the run at all. Maybe outside
Wasn't
runs.
it like 2 weeks ago that you were talking about the Cowboys run defense and like any team could run for like 300 on them? Wasn't it like 2 weeks ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now I'm psyching myself up for a playoff run.
Here we go.
That's totally fair, TBH. I'd be doing the same thing.
Can that just we'll use that?
I'm
as a perfect
psyching myself
transition.
up for the Bears to get the number 1 pick, baby.
It's the perfect transition. My favorite thing, my favorite game that should have been flexed out of Sunday night is the Cowboys on Sunday night against the Colts. Let me tell you, they're 5-2 against the spread in games they're favored. One of the losses being last week, the insane backdoor cover that needed a freaking Brett Maher missed 35-yard field goal on top of a freaking crazy drive all the way down the field for a touchdown. That was nonsense. They dominated that second half. They should have won by 10 points. Nonsense. They're going to murder the Colts. The Colts look lost. Their offense looks lost. They only have one identity. That's hoping Jonathan Taylor breaks off first downs. The pass rush, Matt Ryan can't handle it.
Yep.
It's
I mean,
dead.
if you hate the Cowboys, no matter what, you should pray that they do in fact kill Matt Ryan this week. They might actually just end his career this week. He could be done. They might sack him 6 times.
That
and
actually
kill him.
also veers into one of the futures. I got 2 futures I'd like to add to this today.
Wasn't it the who was the random guy that Austin told us to put money on to get more than one or like more than half a sack? Was it like 2 months
Cowboys?
ago? Probably. Yeah, I forgot who it was.
Yeah, I do remember
Sam
that.
Williams. Do you have a Sam Williams?
Yeah, it might have been. Maybe it was Armstrong or I don't know.
Could have been. Oh,
I have no
Dorrance
clue.
is a stud.
He is a stud. Nonetheless, hear me out. The future you want is the Cowboys to win the division future.
Boo! Stop being this guy.
I don't know what to tell everyone here. I'm just saying, depending on where you're getting it, you can plus 200, plus 500, plus $1 million, anywhere in that range. You're taking it. I'm telling you, they're going to win against the freak.
That's a big range. 200, 500, $1 million.
Yeah, hear me out. Just hear me out. Take it at minus 10,000. Okay, they're going to beat the Colts. They're going to beat the Texans. They're going to beat the Jags. Easy, easy, easy. Who knows if Eagles lose a game in that time? They might. Doesn't matter, because then the Eagles have to go into Dallas and lose. And just lose. They're going to lose. Jalen Hurts sucks. Doesn't matter. Cowboys win that game. They're going to win the division. It's going to spiral the Eagles down a rabbit hole. All the Cowboys need is the Eagles to lose one more game. At any point in the season, the Cowboys are winning out with this schedule. Calling it right now.
Got some good points.
The Eagles have lost to the Commanders. The Cowboys haven't lost a single division game other than to the Eagles. So if they split with the Eagles and win every other division game, they have the tiebreaker. If they tie to end the season, they're going to win the division. I feel like this is not a crazy thing to see in the future. Just trust the process.
I don't understand.
Speaking of futures.
Go ahead.
I would say, speaking of futures, we're on Nick Chubb watch again, and he's cracked the millennium mark on his rushing total this season. He's at 1,039 yards, so we're only 162 yards away from Nick Chubb cashing on the best feature.
Might do it this week.
This season.
Good.
Yeah, they play the Texans this week, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they're going to want to keep the ball out of Watson's hands as much as they can so the boos don't rain down.
Yeah. That's unfortunate.
I don't know. I want to hear Mark's take on my big future here, you know? He seems upset.
It's amazing how up until this point in the season, you were all in on our favorite football team. And then they score 40 against the Packers with over 360 rushing yards. And you're like, nope, I'm out. Why? It just blows my, like, how can you be like, oh yeah, Jalen Hurts stinks? He didn't have a great game passing the football. He didn't need to. They ran for 360 yards. Him and Sanders combined for 300 of them. He had, 172 rushing yards against the Packers? Like, how can you
I'll be honest.
I'll tell you right now.
After the first,
everybody
quarter,
is
no idea
calling that the perennial MVP performance. This is going to spike him up. I think that was his worst game of the season, by a lot. If you watched him pass the football, he looked lost. He was just throwing prayers up in the air, hoping guys would catch it. He was making terrible reads. I didn't like that game. It didn't inspire. The Washington loss was whatever. That was the flukiest freaking thing I've ever seen.
Yes,
that win against Green Bay was not good. The defense looked awful. Gardner Johnson's going to be out for 6 weeks because he has a lacerated freaking spleen or some kidney.
Yeah.
Not good. The defense looked atrocious without him. That freaking rookie, he got the pick. After that, he looked lost. He couldn't cut an angle. He couldn't read a play. He was getting burned everywhere. This team scares me going forward. If they win this week, it'll inspire me. I'll be back. But
Jordan Davis is back this week. The Eagles' run defense has been atrocious without Jordan Davis. He's back.
That's good. They'll be able to stop the run.
They'll be able to stop the run.
That is an important time to pick him up, obviously, against this team.
Yeah.
So
all of a sudden, the defense, when they're not just struggling so hard in one singular category, because the run defense is very bad without Davis. Now that he'll be back and can provide some insurance on the run game, or on the run defense, I think this team will be fine. Yeah, it wasn't Hurts' best game throwing the ball, but at the same time, we didn't need it to be.
Yeah, I mean, you guys just don't need a quarterback. That's fine. You guys can just run the ball every week, and maybe that works for some teams. If that's what you want to do.
Josh, you hate your quarterback more
isn't
than
that what the
anyone
Cowboys
else.
do too? Dak played one of his worst games this week.
Yeah, he's terrible. Maybe he should run the ball more.
Well, I can imagine maybe a reason why he'd be scared to run the ball.
Why is that?
The last time he ran the ball, he broke his leg.
Yeah, well, get over it. It's football. You play it. You get paid $45 million to break your leg and be fine.
I don't know. I can't get on board with that. I don't know. Like, there's some injuries I'm like, yeah, you're paid to play football. You sprain your ankle, whatever, get back out there. But breaking your leg?
Yeah, shattering your leg running the ball is a pretty good reason to never
that
run
just
the
gives
ball
me the
again.
heebie-jeebies. I don't know about all that.
It's quite literally the game. But to me, I was thinking about it the other day where, like, we play the Turkey Bowl, and I'm like, what if someone just tore their ACL in, like, a happy game, right? Because, like, as a professional athlete, you get paid to rehab, and your main priority as a person is to, like, heal up. But if I tore my ACL, you'd see me be like, yeah, I got to deliver pizzas today. Like, I got this thing in my car. Like, I'd be working from home with a torn ACL. Like, life sucks with that thing. They get paid for this stuff. That's fine. Do it
I was kind of thinking about this the other day. It was, yeah, I mean, people would say it's a bad take, but hear me out. We shouldn't care that much when players get injured. We should just say, you know what, that sucks for their career, like playing the game wise, but ultimately they're still getting paid like $20 million to just chill out and sit on their couch and play 2K all day now. So
hell yeah. I'd start rooting for injuries. Who am I kidding?
I mean, yeah,
some people get that opportunity and they pass it up to go coach at Nebraska.
I sign
up Matt Rule.
I sign a 5-year, $100 million contract and tear my ACL the next day. You see that fat grin on my face.
Wow.
Trainer comes over. I go, I tore it. He goes, yeah, actually, I'm feeling the same thing. And you just see me start smirking.
I start crying and tears are flowing. Like, it'll be okay. It'll be okay. He goes, I'm so happy.
I'm getting my $20 million. Right. And I don't have to
in the effort of not being
week.
here for the next in the effort to not be here for the next 3 hours. Let's move ahead and give our picks for this week.
That was my pick for the parlay, by the way.
Has one that they like in particular? What was it?
The Cowboys minus 11.
Oh.
Okay.
I see. If anybody else has an idea for their picks, go for it. I still have to take a look, candidly.
Josh, what do you got?
Come up with what I got.
I don't know. My initial thought is kind of disgusting. It's super sharp, and I do hate Buffalo, but 4 is super slow, right? Who knows? Probably not that. We won't go there. Yeah, give me. I haven't looked at all. Yeah, give me the Stellars in Atlanta money line.
Steelers money line.
Yeah, I mean
they're
just an insanely good team with that TJ Watt guy, and
he's
the Falcons
good
fucking
at the
suck.
football.
Falcons had every opportunity to win that game. They blew it. They had every opportunity the week before against the Chargers. They fucking blew it. They will suck this one away if it's close.
Sounds like a guy who's had money on that team.
No, quite the opposite. Quite the opposite. I bet again. Mark was the one early on in the season. I kept betting against me. You're like, they're undefeated against the spread. They're just good. I go, they're not good.
I never said they were good. I said they were good against the spread.
Right. Yeah. Same.
Well, and also, yeah, the first 6 weeks, you lost 6 weeks in a row. So
Well, that wasn't every week, but it was bad.
Call me crazy because it feels like a trap because this is the most over game of all time, but I'm picking the over in Jacksonville, Detroit. Yeah. I just think there's going to be 1 million points scored in that game.
That's so reasonable, which is a problem.
It seems super trappy,
it seems super trappy, but Trevor Lawrence is on another world right now.
Trevor Lawrence just had the best game of his career not 2 days ago.
Yeah.
You know?
And if he's going to repeat that, it's going to be against this Lions defense, which is just atrocious. Jaguars defense also not very good. And the Lions do have a good offense. So 51.5.
And to be fair, 51.5 is high for this season.
Yeah,
this season we've seen a lot of low over-unders, the highest of the week too. So it's not like it's super.
Is it? It's on one of the ones 52.5 in Chiefs Bengals.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Rematch.
All right, so There are a couple of games that I'm looking at personally. I do like Chiefs. I do like the Chiefs. In theory, I would like them just straight up, but I do like the Dolphins +4. I like that a little bit, as we were just talking about. I think that it's close, so you might as well take the gamble on a 4-point spread. But the one I'm going to go with is actually the one I kind of feel worse about, but I feel it feels right in my heart of hearts, even though I don't really. You know what I mean? Like empirically, I don't really believe it. Is Chargers -2 at the Raiders this week, and at some point, the Chargers. This is how it's working in my head. At some point, they have to win a game convincingly, right? Like at some point,
Nunez,
Not my social media quarterback.
Nunez, you're
I
following.
don't. Can someone explain the social media quarterback thing to me? I don't get it.
It was just something Emmanuel Acho said.
I don't understand.
Yeah, because he just looks flashy and has good
okay.
numbers, but he kind of sucks, and he hasn't won anything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, that's Deshaun Watson. I mean,
Emmanuel
let's keep
Acho
it
is the
honest.
worst, dude. Don't get me started on that clown.
Deshaun Watson is the ultimate social media quarterback. Middle throw for 4,500 yards and still go 3-14. Anyways, so
Nunez, you're falling into the same trap with the Chargers. We fall into this trap with the Chargers every year.
Trap. No, that's a season-long trap. This is an isolated scenario trap where they're going up against one of the worst defenses in NFL history, Mark. In NFL history, this Raiders defense is one of the worst defenses you will ever see on an NFL field, period. Point blank, period. The Chargers finally have Keenan Allen. Mike Williams might play. Who the hell knows, right?
I don't think he has an injury designation this week.
Mike Williams? Yeah, I don't think he practiced today.
Oh, did he?
Huh. Yeah. This is the game, right? Like this is the game where they win. I don't know. And like I feel confident enough in them winning the football game that I might as well lay it with 1.5, even though I know something stupid's gonna happen. Like I know it. I can see it coming from a mile away, right? But it just feels right. Like I said, it feels right in my heart of hearts. It just feels. That's my pick. I'm gonna go Chargers -1.
So we got Cowboys -10.5, Steelers money line over 51.5 in Jags Lions, and Chargers -1.5. That's 11.97. We're throwing the fiver. Boom.
Beautiful. I feel good about it.
Also, what bet did I
feel at least okay about it. You want to bet, Mark?
Yeah, North Carolina Central money line against UNC Asheville.
Oh, gross.
I did not hit my other two bets. Davidson -3.5 and VMI money line at Presbyterian. VMI lost by 50.
Jesus, man.
And Davidson lost in a buzzer beater to the team that I bet on, the sharp side, Charlotte 49ers.
Charlotte!
Yeah.
I got
Dude,
a guy.
No.
Hawkins,
no joke. When that team is playing in March, you better bet on that team. That team is one of the best coached teams in the league.
They're well coached. They're wide. They're old. They just play really well. They hold on to the ball. Don't turn the ball over.
All right. Now I got to determine what my take me home game is going to be tonight.
All right. Well, while you do that, we have to go ahead and give our FanDuel.
Oh crap! Yep,
week, Mark. So as we usually do, as we usually do, we will start with. I think we usually start with Austin, right?
That works for me.
Who the hell cares?
It doesn't matter
Austin,
who starts. Game stack Dolphins. Always do it. Doesn't matter who cares. Dolphins defense sucks. They also score a lot of points. Always stack against them. Jimmy Garoppolo is always cheap, and he always has a good game because the players around him are better than he is. So I'm going Jimmy G and Brandon Ayuk, who seems to be now his favorite target. And he's been getting tons of targets week to week basis. He's only 6,700 for the fact that he's getting 8-9 targets a week. That's pretty good. And I'm pairing that up with Jalen Waddle. Again, he's about 1,100 cheaper, 1,200 cheaper than Tyreek Hill, and it seems as though he's starting to dig into that share where he's getting an even amount of targets every week. Obviously, Tyreek Hill has a higher ceiling, but it feels like Waddle's floor is just the same spot. My 2 running backs, I'm actually going to go a running back I don't like, just because I think it's a good script for him. Mark talked about this over earlier. DeAndre Swift against Jacksonville. I think this game could get a little pass happy, a lot of points, and DeAndre Swift has looked better and better. He's been progressing every week. He looked really good on Thanksgiving, actually running forward, running into contact, not running away like a little scared boy. So he should probably get up over 5 carries this game, but he also has been seeing, 4 or 5 receptions every week. He'll find the end zone. All running backs in Detroit find the end zone. That team's insane. My next running back, David Montgomery. Yep, it's a tank week, especially if we don't see Justin Fields. They're going to rely heavily on Montgomery. They're going to check it down to Montgomery a lot. He's their guy. He's pretty cheap at 7,000 for what he's going to be for that offense this week, especially against a team that just gave up 350 rushing yards. So there's that. Now, I know what Mark's going to have in his lineup, and I went kind of opposite of this. I went receiver Devonta Smith, revenge matchup for A.J. Brown. I'm sure Mark's got that in his lineup, but
I don't.
Devonta Smith, 8 targets, 9 targets, 9 targets the last 3 weeks. Even in a week where I just said they ran for 350 yards, he got 9 targets. He's a guy that Jalen Hurts is starting to look to more and more over the middle of the field. I will pick a receiver against Tennessee every week until I die. I don't care. They give up yards. They give up catches. Touchdowns don't matter. They're going to pepper Devonta Smith. Tight end, Pat Freiermuth. Who cares about tight end if you're not picking Travis Kelce? Just throw a dart. Just close your eyes and throw a dart. Pick a random guy. Pat Freiermuth has gotten 35 targets over the last 5 weeks. Sounds good to me at a tight end position. My flex positions, Christian Kirk, and in that game over that Mark talked about. I could have went him or Zay Jones. Zay Jones is cheaper and is coming off of a crazy game, but I still feel like Christian Kirk is his guy. Christian Kirk is the guy he's looking at in the end zone. He'll bounce back, will score a touchdown this week and up above his 10 targets. And then my defense, I don't generally like to spend up, but I had the money after I got the guys I wanted. So I'm taking Seattle's defense against the Rams. Seattle can't defend the run, but luckily the Rams can't run. They don't have any running backs. They don't have an offensive line. They suck. They are entirely one of the worst teams in the NFL. And so I'll take Seattle's defense, who is a playmaking defense against that crappy team. Boom.
Yeah. I move on here. Josh, why don't you give us your lineup next?
Will do. First off, Mark, if you want to take you home tonight, what if I told you there was a top 5 team in college basketball right now playing on the road against an unranked team and was only favored by 2 points? What kind of bullshit is that?
Buddy, Virginia it's so hard to bet on Virginia.
That's right. It is, Mark. You know why? Because they're not going to win the game tonight. But anyways, it is. I mean, why would the line?
I'm going to be honest. I thought about Michigan earlier. I was like, do I really want to bet Michigan?
Wait. Michigan, one of the best teams they only turn the ball over 12% of the time on offense. They're a really good team at holding onto the ball. Virginia is not going to get into that bullshit, or they're not going to be able to defend very well. And Michigan's going to slow down or pick up the tempo, make Virginia play faster than they want to.
That one sadly has closed, so it's probably going to be San Diego State minus 11.5 versus UC Irvine.
Don't hate that either. Anyways, Trevor Lawrence, we talked about it. Nothing more to be said. Coming off his best game as a pro, I'll take that fucking Fabio-looking piece of shit. I'm in. Then we got Austin Eckler because I wanted to go Herbert stack, but I mean he's just gonna catch 10 balls a game if this fucking guy just keeps wanting to not throw the ball. So we'll go to Austin Eckler, Nick Chubb. I mean, good Christ, the worst Houston's defense and Las Vegas. We did it last week and it worked pretty well fading them. So. Nick Chubb, run it back. We got the stack with Trevor Lawrence, which is just disgusting to say that I have Christian Kirk on my team because it just makes me cringe a little bit. And then I went with a guy who might be, I mean, I think this guy's like fucking Jerry Rice nowadays. Christian Watson. Good God. I mean, this guy has come out of nowhere. I mean, fucking sorry. Randy Moss makes more sense because he's a touchdown machine. Following that up with a former – actually, no, he was never a touchdown machine. That's the only thing he never did was Julio Jones on Monday night. We'll have him, the anti-red zone guy.
I was going to say
Julio
known touchdown scorer Julio Jones will get like 3 a season.
Right. That's simply because I spent too much money and I needed to go cheap, and I'll try and say that it's his game. The tight end, they got a gunslinger out there in New York now. It's Tyler Conklin. He had a good start to the season, and with Joe Flacco in there, he was actually playing pretty well. So hopefully Mike White realizes he can use that guy too. And I don't know, he's cheap, so who cares? Another rookie wide receiver who's gotten not a lot of attention because he was out with injury for most of the year. Traylon Burks, my flex spot. That guy is pretty all right. And with Philly's Chauncey Gardner-Johnson or whatever being out, their pass defense might lack a little bit. So sure, throw Darius Slay on him, but that guy's washed too. So who knows? And then Nunez, I got your boys keeping it close there in Green Bay. I actually think it's going to be an underfest in Chicago, Green Bay, and so I got the Bears defense in that one.
The amount of overlap between Josh and I's lineup is actually insane.
Oh, buddy.
Just saying that right off the jump.
That's how you know you're either coming in first or last.
Well, not me, because this is the Stanley Steamer, the carpet cleaner, second place lineup of the week. And guess where we're going for our game stack? That's right. We're going to Jacksonville, Detroit. We are going with Trevor Lawrence and Christian Kirk. But we're doing a full game stack, so it's not just those two. I've also got Jamal Williams, who I consider DeAndre Swift as well. Both of them are, just getting a ton of touches for Detroit right now. Jamal Williams leading the NFL in touchdowns. It's just going to be an absolute mad run game for the Lions in that one. I'm pairing him with Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's actually somehow my most expensive player of the week at 8,000. Amon-Ra has looked better after the injury in recent weeks, so I will go with him. Those are the 4 players from that game. I do have Cordero Patterson in Steelers versus the Falcons. It's, I know the Steelers have a great defense, especially with TJ Watt back, but I like Cordero. I think he can find the end zone in this one. My other wide receiver, along with St. Brown and Kirk, is Gabe Davis in the Bills game against the Patriots. So someone mentioned it earlier. I think 4 is not a big enough line in that one. It makes sense. Divisional matchup. The Patriots have historically played well against the Bills, and Austin's gone. But I like Gabe Davis.
He looks like he's having connection problems.
Yeah. I like Gabe Davis in this one. Real deep threat for Josh Allen in that one. He's certainly been trying to throw the ball deep in recent weeks, or at least last week he tried to throw it deep again. Oh no, that's what he did. He tried to throw the ball deep on Thanksgiving last week. Who knows if it'll end up in the correct receiver's hands? That's Josh Allen certainly isn't sure where that ball is going right now, but I like Gabe Davis. Tight end, I've got David Njoku against the Texans. He has been getting more targets in recent weeks, and how about that catch he made last week in that wild game against the Buccaneers? Njoku proving that he should be a legitimate target on the Browns. The guy's got hands made of glue. In Austin, I do not have A.J. Brown in my lineup. I have Devontae Smith in my lineup because I have seen all of the things that you've seen with Devontae in recent weeks. I love the target share. You're right. Titans defense does give up yards. They give up big plays. Devontae Smith is a big play kind of receiver. I can see him breaking a couple of tackles, going for a big catch and run. And then defense, I didn't go with the cheapest defense, despite the fact that defense doesn't matter. I went with a fairly good defense, playing a tough offense, but I like what the Jets have done on the defensive side of the ball this year. Against the Vikings is going to be tough. Justin Jefferson, of course, we'll see if he can be lost in the sauce.
Oh, that's such a good matchup. I can't believe I didn't even mention that.
Yeah.
That makes my thing wiggle. Not gonna lie.
I'd like to
TBH. Yeah. All right. Let's round it out with a lineup that sounds very pretty familiar to what you've already heard. So if we're going with a game stack, we're looking at the game with the second highest total of the week, and that's Jacksonville-Detroit. Am I right, everybody? I know, very original thought of my own. I have Trevor Lawrence as my quarterback. It's kind of crazy to think about it that way. And with him, I've got two of his receivers in Zay Jones, who I understand. Christian Kirk is still the number one target. He got 9 targets last week. He's been getting double-digit targets, plentiful in the last 5 or 6 weeks. Zay Jones, so if they're going to sway pass heavy, and I think this could be swayed by the fact that Travis Etienne might not play. That I think that's an important thing to note. If that's the case, they might lean even more pass heavy. I like Zay Jones as the number 2 here to still be involved enough to be worth that price point. And we're bringing it in, and this is partially because I'm also putting this lineup in a big tournament this weekend. Revenge game. I don't know if you guys took into account, but it is a revenge game for one Marvin Jones Jr. Yes, Marvin Jones. Yeah, against his former team, the Detroit Lions. So I got him in there. And then we're going to run it back with DeAndre Swift. Similar things to what Austin said. Secondary game stack is the game that I talked about that is a big wild card, but this one defense sucks, so they should be able to put up points. And that will be Devontae Adams and Austin Eckler. Austin Eckler heavily involved, yada yada, scores a lot of touchdowns, catches balls. Devontae Adams is the only person that Derek Carr throws the ball to. So that seems pretty self-explanatory. Third running back, Devontae Dalvin Cook against the Jets defense. Jets defense that's shown, a couple cracks here or there. I know the Bears only mustered 10 points on him this past week, but Dalvin Cook as heavily involved as he is, and the fact that the Vikings might have to take a separate course of action if Justin Jefferson is lost in the sauce. Maybe they turn to their star running back in that instance. Tight end, similar thought process with the Dalvin Cook thing, but on a lower end. What's the old adage about Bill Belichick defenses? They take away your number one weapon. They do the thing. They bracket your number one receiver, so you have to go to your other options. What could be another option for Josh Allen? Dawson Knox. All right, everybody. Dawson Knox. They paid the man to not do anything with the man. And not partially, I think that's because he's not very good. But he has had at least 6 targets in 2 of the last 3 games. So that's worth it at 5,500. And then that left me with enough money for the Chicago Bears defense. If they're playing against the hobbled Aaron Rodgers, look, I know they don't have any good players left. All right, they don't. They have none. They've either been traded or they're now injured for the rest of the season. But they were 3,200. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Absolutely. And that's my FanDuel lineup. It's very familiar, but also I'm feeling I'm going to win. I'm feeling a win this week.
I'm feeling second.
Yeah. All right. That does it for FanDuel. That does it for this episode of the Hot Stove Podcast. It was a doozy. It's the easiest way to describe it. So before you head out, make sure to follow us on Twitter at Hot Stove Pod. That's at Hot Stove Pod on Twitter. Here on the YouTube channel, subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment on the video if you feel like commenting, and hit the notification bell as well to be notified when we go live or post new videos or something like that. We have a couple things in the pipeline outside of normal content that we will be filming within the next few weeks. We will be doing our excuse me, whether it goes in tandem with another episode in a week or if it's the episode for a week, we'll be doing our yearly Baseball Hall of Fame ballot show before the year is out. So we can have that conversation. And then also Mark and I, at some point within the next few weeks, we'll be recording our episode for our top 10 favorite movies of 2022. Doing that for the second straight year. So we'll have to figure that out. It gives us enough time to catch up on some stuff. But otherwise, that will be coming certainly by the end of December. Hopefully a little bit sooner, but we'll see. We'll see. But that is something we're absolutely going to be doing again this year. So be on the lookout for that. Make sure to subscribe to the channel to get notified whenever that drops. This has been the Hot Stove Podcast. Thank you for watching. We love you, and we'll see you next time.
Yep.
Peace.